Oh, hello. I am in here right now. If you can hear me, see me, just generally enjoy me, it would help me a lot if you put in a comment so that I know that the audio and everything is working well. You know, I generally don't know what I'm doing. And so you all just get to be here while I experiment and figure out sort of what's going on. I'm new to CircleCI. I work here and it's fantastic so far. But also, you sort of have to become a product expert real quick. And, you know, onboarding at a new job, I think a lot of us feel like you have to become an expert in the product, in your area of the product as quickly as possible. And I mean, like, honestly, that's really hard. There's a reason we have this idea of institutional knowledge, right? It takes a really long time to learn things and become well-versed in this like entire world. And so I am, deep diving into the world of CircleCI, both from a community standpoint and a technical standpoint. So the better I know how to use it, the better I can then help the community, right? Anytime along the way, you can post questions, comments, etc. And I will probably see them. There's like a strong possibility. But what I do want to do for now is take a look at what I want to do today. So let me open up extra tabs here. You get to follow along with me. I've got my Circle account just open. As you can see, it has nothing. But I also want to go to my own GitHub account and find us something to watch, right? So as you can see, I am the cater tot always. What I wanted to do is take a project that I had that already had tests and just try to go through the very basics. Like, I really wanted to call this stream, I wanted to call it like Baby's First Continuous Integration, but I decided to go with the more straightforward community time with Katy. It is the cater tot's very first venture into continuous integration. And the reason for that is that depending on where you work in an org, sometimes you never touch these dev tools, right? And that's sort of what's happened in my career so far, is that like I haven't been in a position where the things I'm working on necessarily go into production. So one, maybe I didn't even add tests. And two, if I did, they were like, Also, I can see Dog in the comments. How you doing, Jeremy? I like comments. You can leave them and I'll probably even see them. But what I need is a good project. And so this project right here called Remix is the one that I had in mind. And I'll tell you a little bit about why I chose it, which is that I really thought, I believed with my heart that I wrote a lot of tests for this. I remember, so this project essentially is a formatter for a very specific database, InfluxDB, which is where I used to work. And basically it would just take in some special formatted text and then give you back something that was a little easier to deal with. We don't like super need to worry about what it does, because honestly, it's like a small thing that's like lovely. I'm glad I made it, but I had to write a bunch of tests because I was going to recommend this for people in product and engineering at InfluxDB to use. And I wrote those tests. They are in my mind. But last night I got on here and here's what's in the test. So, hey, you know, I'm not proud, but this is where we are. I can really I just don't know how to properly explain to you. Like, I can see the tests that I wrote in my mind and they look like, ooh, so good. Yeah. Jeremy says tests are always better when they stay in our minds. Yeah, that might be right because I really look, I think I wrote the tests, but maybe they lived locally. Maybe I never pushed them. Maybe it was a fever dream, you know? Like, yeah, this way they never fail, Jeremy. Correct. So an important thing to know about these tests is that this first one should always come back true, and the second one obviously will always come back false. And the reason I wanted to do that is because I want to check the error messages as I go and make sure that like what I think is happening. And the way for me to do that is to create a problem that I know about, which is this test. So, okay, I've got this project, and then you just yell, circle, activate. And nothing happens. So then you go to your Circle account and I'm going to go to, yeah, Jeremy has a fever and the only cure is more tests. You and many other developers. Okay, so I'm just going to try this, to set up a new project. We'll guide you through the config. That's exactly what I want. I want to do as little of this manually as I have to. So set up project. Ooh, okay. So what this is doing right now, one, it knows my project is in Ruby, so that's cool. And you can also see on line 3 that it will be using an orb. Now, I've been learning about orbs in the last few weeks, and maybe you've heard of them, maybe you haven't, but I was a little confused about them. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, I've used many different sort of package managers, and you have Ruby gems, you have NPM packages, you have whatever Rust uses. Go modules, but an orb is basically a preset configuration, right? So if I use the Ruby orb, I don't have to worry about making sure that on my end, I don't have to specifically set up Ruby, right? I'm using the Ruby orb so that it can do special Ruby things and great, I don't care. That's the dream. And then as we sort of move down, so I had to look up a lot of this vocab. These weren't things that I was super familiar with. I know these are, again, this is baby's first continuous integration. Okay. So I just didn't have all the vocabulary right. So I only have I have this list of jobs, right? And there's only one job. Oh, hi, Angel. I see you in the comments. How you doing? Yeah, so these jobs, I don't know what I thought jobs were, but not whatever it was incorrect. So there's only one job here, and thank you, YAML, for using the indentation. So I can see there's only one job, and that is build. So inside of the build, it uses this convenience image of this specific version of Ruby. Great. Executor. I actually don't know what that is. That's exciting for me. Do you know what? What if we didn't care? Let me just throw this out here, right? Do you look up everything you don't know what it is, or do you hope? I'm going to hope for a minute. Let's just move on to the next one. And then I'll come back to it if I need to know. So And then the steps are you check out and then you run bundle. Oh, you run bundle-v to just like see, what you're on. Oh, Angel is telling me an executor is the runtime where the build occurs. Well, that makes sense then. So great. Default it is. And then the last line here is to do the bundle install, which is, Ruby's way of building and making sure that things are up to date. So this looks pretty cool. I'm trying to think of okay. So this is great. Let's just add just this part and see what happens, because we want to run the tests too, but I kind of just want to get it added and see it fail, see it pass, see whatever it's going to do. As you can see, I've been messing around with this a bit. What do we think is happening now? Oh, 26. Wait, nope. I thought this was this happened 26 seconds ago, but that's not what happened. It happened 18 hours ago because I was fussing with this yesterday. Yeah, Angel, you like to see all that red? Oh, I can make builds fail. Okay, I can make them fail. Great. Okay, so my brain is melting a little bit. As you can see, this. Don't look at the commit messages. Ignore those. Okay, so I added a config. So what I'm going to do, here we go, is go over to this branch. Yeah, sorry for all the UI madness. I could do this in the terminal, which is where I would usually do it. But frankly, when I'm screen sharing, it's just easier to stay in the browser. All right, so here's the YAML file. That's all looking great. Yes, it does mean I have more learning opportunities, Angel. Okay, so actually don't know what's happening right now. I thought something was going to happen, and I'm just really not sure if something did. And maybe this is because I was fussing around with it before. And when in doubt, did I commit the change? Great answer, Angel. I mean, I committed it to this branch because when I did it in Circle, okay, this is maybe not even what I wanted. This is when they say advanced, they mean it's not for babies. It's not for babies first continuous integration. So let me go back here. Okay. So one thing I will say that I wish is that I kind of want to be able to clear the screen from things that happened a while ago, so I could focus on what is currently happening. But that's okay. Okay. So usually, you know what I'll do is I'll edit this here and see if we can't get what do I want to change? It doesn't really matter. I can change anything. I'm just going to change the name for lack of a better commit. Nobody keeps baby in the integration corner, says Jeremy. Yeah, nobody but me. I'm going to commit these changes and see if I can sort of there we go. Now it's running. Sometimes you just gotta be willing to make a commit you don't care about, And I don't know about all of you, but I'm definitely willing. Okay. Great. Success. Because all it did was just do a bundle install. So we can even let me just pop in here. So I did test this out last night because I wanted, look, I wanted to do it for the 0th time this morning, but this project is old and my knowledge of it is like, the whisper of a memory. So I wanted to make sure I was familiar with it and at least like, I don't want to spend an hour on stream not being able to figure out how to update Bundler. So those are pretty much the things I did last night. So that right now, great. It looks like everything's great. This could be pushed to production right now. I could add a deploy step and be like, you're free, but it doesn't need to be deployed. So I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is try to figure out how to run my tests. So right now there's no step in our config. I don't know why I went back here. Doesn't matter. There's no step in our config for it. So what I want to do, I'm going to go to help. And I'm going to go to the docs. I'm just going to try searching for Ruby. And I just start with these like language guides because especially sometimes the biggest trouble we have, or I have as a developer, I won't speak for all of you, but I will speak for some of you who I know do this, which is that like if I think I know what problem I have, I'll like search something super specific and then I will be wrong. And I will spend a lot of time searching for something that's like too specific and is actually like unrelated. So I like to start broadly and then sort of narrow my way in. So this is for Ruby on Rails. This is not a Rails app. This is just a plain old Ruby boy because I don't have anything against Rails, but didn't need to be a Rails app, so it isn't. And I think that's a philosophy everyone should take to heart. Do you need that framework? Ask yourself. Really, really ask in your heart. So, overview. If you're in a rush, am I? Are we? We could. CircleCI maintains a sample Ruby on Rails project. So you could see that building. So I could have done that, I guess. But I wanted just to be an authentic experience where you saw my bad tests. So here we are. Okay, sample configuration. All right, so let's look at some of the differences here. So this sample config that goes with the example application is using 2 orbs, Ruby orb and a Node orb. I don't need a Node orb because although JavaScript is my love language, I'm not using it today, so I don't need it. But this is interesting because it has more jobs. So first job is build, second job is test. And I think those are the only 2. It's hard to keep track of the indentation on these pages. Sorry, I like itched, made my own nose itch. And I touched it, but I can touch my face because I'm inside and I just washed my hands. Wash your hands. Okay. Okay, so I don't need most of this, right? Because my app is, it's probably dog hair. I have dogs that run past, and I just can't. I'm so sorry. I just can't focus. Okay. My kindergarten teacher used to tell me that sometimes he would send me outside and tell me to shake out my sillies and then come back. I'm not going to leave, but I do clearly need to shake out my sillies a little bit, which has been true since I was 5 and continues to be true. All right, so I don't need most of this because my application is it's just a little baby. So what I want to do basically is only run tests. I'm just looking through here because I'm interested in some of these other Docker images that are being used. So like if I had a database, I could use this Postgres image and set up all of these environment variables. And the environment variables say like this in your config, and then you set them up through circle so that they don't have to live together. I'm just like confusing myself because I'm having fun. Is that what you're supposed to do? Okay. I don't really care about the environment. I mean, this is nice, but I don't need any of that. This is the joy of not using a framework I don't need, which is that I don't need most of this. What I really only want, aha! Here you are, you little tricky little RSpec. Okay, so this is basically what I'm looking for. So I'm just gonna copy this one line because I don't need a workflow for this because I only have one job. And well, I don't know. I could, you know what? I don't know if I do, but I'm not going to put one in yet. I like to do things really incrementally. So I'm going to, okay. So let me just also say that I'm using a keyboard that is not my primary keyboard, and the keys are different. And so you'll probably see me make characters that are abnormal because I keep hitting the wrong keys. That's okay. So here's the thing about this line that I'm sort of thinking about, which is like, I know that RSpec test like isn't the command I normally use to run my tests for this app. And I think that these lines 15 and 16 here are aliases. So I think behind the scenes, these are just aliases for something like this run command. So I'm just kind of thinking about, like, I kind of don't expect this to work. Should I? Look, I'm not going to change the commit message for your benefit every time. Just kidding, I am. I like you all. Okay, I'm going to say, I try my hardest to keep my commit messages relevant. I'm sure we're all guilty of it, but I will say update config, conclude RSpec alias. Look at me. I'm a professional. Ain't nobody say different. Okay, so I'm going to commit this, and then if I pop over here, okay, it's got some opinions. That's fine. We all know that there is a config, so rude. Look at it fail, you beautiful little monkey. Okay, I'm going to just clicking on everything that looks clickable. That's kind of the story of my life. So, error calling workflow, error calling job build, cannot find a definition for this alias. That sounds correct to me. Like we talked about, I don't think like that's how I call my tests, and it might have to do with the fact that like this alias is for a Rails project. Might just have to do with my RSpec setup. I'm really not sure, but I think my tests. All right. Well, we know that didn't work, right? So, boo. I am going to go back to the language guide and see if there's. I kind of know what I want to try next, but kind of seeing if there's anything else here that like. Should we look at this Ruby on Rails project? I didn't even open it before. Let's look at what the config looks like. Wait, it's going to look like that other. Oh, right. It's going to look like the example config from the article. It's about this example application. That makes sense. Okay. So this is not super helpful what I'm doing, but well, that's not true. This has got some. It's got some more, I think. So that's good. I am going to try to search for RSpec. Okay, so just Ruby/test here. Ruby/test, which is definitely an alias. That sounds like one. And that's not how my tests run. Okay. I'm just trying to keep track of like what happens in my application as opposed to what might happen in this like big Ruby Rails application. So I don't think Ruby/test is going to work. Katy-driven development is a thing. Yeah, I just like go where I feel, and then when I'm wrong, I have to ask for help from Angel and Jeremy. It's very true. I know a lot of developers who would agree with that statement. I drive my own development. Okay, so what I think I want to do here is I want to create another step. This is what I think I want to do. I'm going to give it a name. Doesn't matter. Oh, running tests. And then I'll give it a command. How do I run my tests? I'm asking myself in the past. Sometimes I call my past self the former farmer because my last name is Farmer. Current Katy doesn't know what former farmer was thinking. And that's one of the problems we run into in Katy-driven development. I think, let's try rake. I have a rake task, rake spec. Now, if you're thinking that I should be looking at my project to see what my rake file looks like, you are correct. I shouldn't be doing this from memory. But we're here to make exciting content for you, you know, and to learn, not to research. That's like, I mean, I really like to research and read. I'm not going to pretend I'm not a big old nerd. Okay. Commit changes. Ooh, update to add separate. Respect. Nope. Test step. Okay. Commit this and pop back over here. Uh-oh. Better go back to our pipeline so we can see it happening. Running. You know, I don't really know what I expect to happen. Oh, no, wait. Okay, if I set it up correctly, that it should get to the test and then fail on the test that's supposed to fail. That's the dream. So, in case you're wondering, when it says failed, that's because my dreams are coming true. Okay, so let's see. When I click into the build, let's find out what happened. Nope. No. Okay, so we didn't quite get to running the tests. That's okay. That happens. It happens. You know? But this is good for me because I know that this is not the right command. All right, so we'll try something else. And maybe I will look in my rake file. Who knows? Things could get crazy. You can see there's like a status over here. It says partial outage. We're just going to like open this up real quick just so I know. Atlassian Bitbucket is not relevant to me at this time. So that's great. Look at that uptime. Great work, team. And I bet yesterday we had a tiny outage and it was like 10 minutes and they fixed it because they're so smart. I bet there's so many smart people working on it right now. And luckily, I don't need either of those things. What I need to know is what my test command is. So let's just hop back over into the old project. I'm going to stay on this circle branch. Go into my spec folder. Nope, that's not where my rake file. I'm looking for my rake file. Come on, brain. You can do this. Okay, well, as you can see, it's like erroring out on this require statement. I don't really think that's the I think that's a red herring. I don't think that's what it's actually angry about. There's only one task in here. And the task is called spec. So great news. I don't know why that didn't work, but that doesn't mean I'm out of things to try. What if I just take off? I only have, I mean, this isn't ideal, but what if I just put rake? Because I only have one task right now. So I'll run all the tasks, which is one, hopefully. Do you think this will change anything? Will it change anything? Great question from my brain. This is when the commit messages start to get lazy for me, because I think maybe something will be a little different. Yeah, okay. I'm going to use the default commit message. Don't judge me for this, okay? Because this is mostly because if I were doing this locally, I wouldn't be making a commit every time. But here we are. We got to go back to our pipeline, see what's happening. I do like, one of the things I particularly like is how quickly it shows up here, like how quickly it starts the build. Do you remember on 11 and 12, remember when we were successful? But, you know, that's in the past, so let's not worry about that. Oh, hey, look, it's the same error. That's like super fun. Gosh. Okay. I know that this is what it says the error is, but I don't really think it's like the require statement is the issue here, because that seems super unlikely to me. So, okay. What if we just look for other R spec? Yeah. These are all great, but maybe too specific. This is the problem when you're doing these. Oh, this didn't have the word RSpec in it. It had the word respectively in it. So that is not relevant. This is sort of the problem when you're using these sort of fake beginner projects, is that, like, honestly, they're not. Well, okay, let me back up. My code built a useful thing. It doesn't have a robust test suite because apparently that was in my imagination. But I thought it was real. And I was planning to show you all that I was like so good at tests and that I had written so many, but I did not do that. So sometimes when you're using these little BBs with not a lot of tests and things, it's like it's hard to get it to work right because you have so much less context. So this still didn't work. So that's cool. I'm pretty confident about the order that it goes in because it needs to bundle install before we can run the tests. So that part I feel is correct and true. I'm just thinking a little bit. Okay. Let's just try, like I'm just trying to add what I use to run the test, which is like great question. Am I right? How do I run my tests? These are all excellent questions. I mean, I usually run them just with RSpec, like that command. So let's give it a go. Again, bundle exec. Angel is a gene. Yes. Okay. Yes, this all sounds very familiar. Oh yeah, you are good at Google. But being good at Google is the equivalent of being a modern day genius. Also, a problem I have sometimes with a bundle is that I don't know if it's like, sometimes I'm just like, wait, do I type bundle or bundler? Bundle, exec, rate, spec. Let's try that. And now I can totally write a commit message for this. Update, nope. Add bundle exec, and for you like sort of non-Ruby folks, basically bundle exec is a bit like I think it's the equivalent of using sudo. It's like, don't worry about it. I'm root here, and I am in many ways on this computer, which is how it works. So if it works better, then what we'll see is a failure still, but it'll be the failure that we like, which is just a failing test instead of a let's see. Okay. It failed. Okay. I don't know. If I just sit here, does it build the suspense? Are we all wondering the same thing? Ayo! It's the right kind of failure. That's what I think they're going to call the biopic that they make about me someday. It'll be called The Right Kind of Failure, a mostly true story about Katy. All right. So let's just go make this test do what we want. And then in a show of, just amazing determination, commitment, sharp minds, and Google, maybe we'll get a fall green check mark. Again, I would really rather be in my editor, but I'm just going to do it here because it's much easier to share a window if you just stay in the same application. I'm going to expect true to be true because I can. Now, this did make me sort of remember that I need to add better tests, but here we are. I'm going to force the test to pass. This could be it. This could be our big moment. Go to your editor, make them run locally first. Yeah, that's what I was doing, Angel, but I have used my terminal a couple times off screen to just check myself, but the last time I was trying to, I don't know, is there something weird when you're sharing monitors and you have like the multiple screens? Sometimes it's just like strange, and I don't have anything open that I wouldn't share, but it would be a weird inception moment where it would be like, oh, Katy has a bunch of windows of this stream open to make sure that it's working. Look at this still running. I didn't expect it to still be running, but oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, we did it. And I don't need to like click in and see what happened here, but I'm gonna do it. Yes. Blue. I feel good. I feel good about this check mark. I feel like baby's first continuous integration is now integrated. All right. Look at that. Look at those 0 failures. Don't worry about the tests, okay? I feel like, so I learned to code specifically using test-driven development. And so for me, those passing tests, they feel great. They're really like, Yeah, we're in Katy-driven development now. Sometimes that means it's a test of the mind that drives things forward. That's exciting. I am excited. Okay, so what did we do in Baby's first continuous integration? Let's go over it again because I'm learning, and I think like probably most folks who are using Circle on a day-to-day basis already know this, but I don't know if you all have seen this pattern. There's a bit of a jump for me between like, here's this dev tool, you need it, and then it kind of, I feel like it jumps to like a medium level of expertise. Like there's very little like, let's pretend you don't know anything about CI, because I don't. And now I know some, and that's great, right? But it's like folks I know who have computer science degrees, they don't learn about these kinds of dev tools, right, as part of their curriculum. And I went the like boot camp route and learned to code. They don't, well, we can have like a whole other session about boot camps if you want, but like they don't have time in that like packed curriculum to really talk about these dev tools. And your brain is not really like, it's hard to understand what these tools are really for till you're out in it. So you're sort of like out in these little pockets of the world where you're like, this is my code and this is why I need this tool. And maybe we don't spend enough time talking about why. I think for me on this project, right, like this was a project I could build once and it doesn't really need to be updated. Like the format for InfluxDB is not changing anytime soon. Also, obviously I drew this because it's not like an official README unless it has a logo. So I made it. This was also my first Ruby gem that I made, which was exciting. And that's why I thought it really needed a logo. But like this gem is not going to get updated that often because like there are not that many moving pieces of this. But let me go back to my other repos and find some examples here. I write a lot of JavaScript and I write a lot of, yes, thank you. Got it. No one knows what this means, okay? If you know, you tell me about it. I don't know what the Arctic Code Vault contributor has been popping up over the last few days. People have just been like, what is this? Oh, tell me, Arctic Code Vault contributor. Is that like that vault where they put all that, those like virus strains that's in like the tundra somewhere? I don't know. Maybe that might have been from the G.I. Joe movie. I can't remember. Okay, so let's say I'm going to click on one of these games, one of these JavaScript games. Look at all these security vulnerabilities. Like these, obviously, 16 months. I haven't updated them. But these projects have a lot more moving pieces. If you're familiar with like, it's where they keep all the fermented fish in Iceland, Angel says. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Same place. That's where my code lives. It lives with all the fermented fish. These JavaScript projects tend to change at a much higher rate, right? The dependencies have to be updated. If I make any change to a game in the browser, that usually touches multiple points, unless I'm just changing an image maybe. But like for the most part, like if I make a change to this project, it's going to be a little bit of a bigger deal. And I am going to want to be sure that it is like still working and that the game still works. And as you can see, there are no tests here. So maybe that'll be a future project I can do. I would like to do a Node project next. Like I said, I usually write JavaScript. So I like Ruby because it's simple. And I feel like Ruby loves me. But, oops, that's the wrong one. Go to these repos. But I think a JavaScript example makes for a better sort of explanation of why you might want a tool like this. Because and especially if I weren't working, when I'm working by myself, then like maybe these dev tools are a little like, I don't know, they're still useful, obviously, but if I'm working by myself, I tend to be like, I'll just like try it or whatever. But especially, right, if you have multiple touch points on your team, if me and Angel and 3 other Circle engineers were all working on this remix project, then then you're definitely going to want to try to like make sure this same build process works for every single commit. So I think that like theoretically, some of this just doesn't make sense until you are working as an engineer. But that means that we still need intro materials, right? Like, yes, I'm going to explain it like you're 5 and I'm 5, but if it goes over your head and you're like, Katie, this is so easy. Why are you doing this for babies? That's kind of ideal. I would rather like progress forward so that I can catch up with you rather than force you to catch up with me, if that makes sense. But I just really like talking about like education. Yeah. Angel says he has a Batman voice right now. Totally makes sense. I also have a sore throat, Angel, so I've been saving my instrument just for this, for you all, because I was excited to do this today, but probably after this, not gonna make any more noise. You know what? I will though. I'll say that, but maybe you can tell this from this stream. I have trouble not making noise. Maybe I'll just whisper quietly. I did worry earlier this morning that this was going to be like an ASMR stream. I was going to have to just whisper into the mic. I kind of want to check out like what it would look like. So, what is following? Oh, following means that it automatically does the thing. Sorry, I'm just reading this. Now, I will say that last night when I was getting the bundler updated. Hi, Shay. Nice to see you. I did see that. Oh, my brain melted. Oh, sorry. The default notifications are to, send you emails and why did I click? I'm sorry. Obviously I need to shake out my sillies. So I subscribe to email notifications, adding the project to my dashboard, everything. So after last night, I went in and turned off the email notifications because I didn't need an email for every time I was wrong about bundle exec. And you might not either, right? Especially like maybe you need them to see when the builds are running. It can give you a good sense of if you're running up credits. And this is all right. I'm on the free tier, free world. Basically, unless I get real complicated with my remix project I clearly have opened the same tab like 100 times. But yeah, clearly I didn't want an email for all of that. And so I turned it off. I also don't really have any other orgs. Well, that's not true. Let's click this one. I'm not going to click the circle one because I'm scared. I am going to click on my sweethearts. Just see what's up. Oh, private. Rude. He didn't make me the admin of these projects, but I am in the org. So like I could switch between work and my personal one. But because my project is small, it doesn't cost anything to run. And honestly, it takes quite a bit, There are people who run on the free and never run out of credits ever. Ooh, good tip, Angel. You can test jobs locally using the CircleCI. I haven't even fussed with the CLI yet. Maybe that's what I'll do in my next stream, because like we talked about, I do kind of prefer to be in the terminal, and we could do a baby's first CircleCI CLI. It's kind of hard to say. Yeah, that's a good idea though. I think next time maybe we'll do the same thing and we'll do it through the command line. Let me go back to my org. I'll leave my darling's code alone, but like I'm gonna unfollow this project right now, okay? Because I don't think I'm gonna make any changes to it, and I also don't think that like I need to be updated, and like I really don't want it to just keep building. I don't think it's gonna have any changes. I don't have any plans to like keep working on it, but some of these do. I definitely do. And also sometimes, I don't know if this ever happens to you all, but I'm just like seeing the name of this repo called Get Started, and I wonder about the former farmer that was me. What is this getting started with? Is this in a different language? I don't know if you ever wonder, but I guess I can. Oh, it's in JavaScript. Get started with what? Just nothing? Not nothing, but like, oh, look at me. I was trying out Chew. That was fun. Well, this is really a lesson in naming things well. That's probably what most of my like live streams could boil down to. My plan is to stream until the top of the hour. If there's any questions or anything, it was really nice to see Shay in the chat. I haven't seen him in a very long time or heard from him, but he thinks I'm crushing it, and I like him for that reason and for other reasons. But Shay he was the I'm just, only Shay knows who Shay is. Shay's a mystery. No, he is an engineer I knew many years ago before I knew how to code. He was my husband's mentor, and he was a really good teacher. And I remember looking over at some of my husband's like homework and stuff that he would do and thinking it was really nice. And I remember how much he sort of enjoyed having a devoted mentor who was like making him a better engineer. And Shay was that person, and he was nice. And I'm really glad that he checked in on me and thinks I'm crushing it, because if I'm crushing it, I'm kind of like his grand mentor, if that could be a thing. See, he was my husband's mentor, and then my husband mentored me. So, I think that's how the lineage should work. And then anyone who learns from this right now will be the great, great mentee of Shay. I'm not going to pretend that this part of the stream is useful, but I'm having a nice time. I'm really glad that we got to a point where it was building. It's such a small thing, but sometimes it feels like really big. It just feels nice to be like, all right, I can do the first small step. And I think it's important to keep in mind when you're learning all of these new tools, right? Like from a community perspective, which is what I'm here for, we want people to feel like this is possible. This tool shouldn't be beyond anyone. Its purpose should be clear, the resources should be clear, and the learning path should be clear. And one way to check ourselves on that as a community and as product designers and everyone else is for me to use my beginner's perspective to check that, right? Because if I can't figure it out, then there's probably at least one more person who can't figure it out. Angel says the failed builds are the most important element in CI/CD. I would agree with that, because let me tell you that if I just like hooked this up to Remix and it had passed straight away, I wouldn't have known anything about what was going on, right? So like I had to jump into the config, figure out how I was running my tests, figure out how the config file was running my tests, the order in which those things were happening, right? So this is one way for me to just walk through our product, this tool. And it's like there's kind of two elements here, where there's like me learning the philosophy of continuous integration, but then also I'm doing that through using Circle. And I'm going to click on this again. It's the same. I don't know why I clicked it again. I just was curious. And I guess it's good. It's good design, because when I see this little icon down here, I want to click it. And it was real easy for me to hook up this little baby project, right? It kind of like helped me along. It told me where to look. And from a learning perspective, like for my first project, that's exactly what I needed. Now, if you remember I don't think it's open anymore. I already closed it. Let's open it back up. Rugby. I don't care about that. Sorry. I mean, you know what I like? I like people who are really passionate about the things that they like. So if you're really passionate about rugby, I like that about you. But I don't. Sports. You know what I forgot was a sport? Boxing. Great sport. That's it. So a couple things. Next time I will probably use the CLI to do the same thing and just get a feel for it. But also, like, there are all these other, there's more complex configurations, obviously, right? Especially if I were, say, building one of my JavaScript projects, they have, yes, next week, Angel and I will do CircleCI CLI 101. And it will be easy to say every time. But there's so many different steps in here. There's more things to learn, right? There's all these, like, we could do when we focus on environment variables. Like, I still don't know what a lot of this is doing. And I think the key is that, like, I mean, you don't really care until you need it, right? Like, I'm very much of the opinion that I'm not going to learn something until I need to, because we have so much to do in our jobs just to catch up. We were, like, in the very beginning of the stream, I was saying, like, onboarding in a new job especially can be so hard. There's so much. It feels like everyone knows the, like, exact path through the dangerous forest, and you're just hoping to be like a little child who can put down breadcrumbs and find your way around. So I'm not going to learn anything like just for fun, just extra, because, right, that gets in the way of, like, your day-to-day. But I do want to go through, you know, what some of these extra steps are, and then how do we add workflows? Because I think one of the things that I was taught was that we value the tools that we use, right? Like, knowing how to use CircleCI really well will make me better at continuous integration. Like, because the tools you use are a really important part of how effective you are, how you learn, and how you get through your day, right? So that's what I want to be sure that the community can do with all the CircleCI tools. And I will be the guinea pig because I'm very cute, I make a lot of noise, and I get a lot of things wrong. So, let's see. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because there's nothing left to share. We did it. We got that green check mark, and we feel great about it. I'm just so happy that some of you tuned in, and we're gonna be here. We're gonna be doing this off and on, hopefully on a regular schedule. as we move along. Next week, Angel and I might have to do the stream on an odd day just because next week is my birthday. And I have to set aside at least 2 days to eat cake. So yes, Shay, next week we'll be teaching CLI. And I am excited to try it because I like to work in the terminal, and then it'll be easier for me to pop in and out of Vim. So, ooh, okay. I'm just so excited. How do people end these streams? Wash your hands, take care of yourselves, try to unclench your jaws and find small moments of joy in your day because the world is difficult. And if you are out there doing your job the best you can right now, then I'm really proud of you. So I will see you all on the internet. Bye.